Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
Hello, I'm Kiki.
And we're back with part 2 of Melanin, nature's sunscreen. And it's good to know about melanin, especially because on a summer day, if you get a suntan, that's melanin. If you have brown hair or brown eyes, wow, you've got lots of eumelanin. And also if you have bright red lips naturally, that might mean you have lots of pheomelanin. We learned all this stuff yesterday. Aren't we smart?
Yes.
All right, so let's today get into our article. But first, we're gonna hear a very interesting story. We were talking yesterday about getting suntans and sunburns and then having your skin peel. And you were saying this is, something that happens to you. It's happened to me, and I'm sure anyone who's had a beach holiday or, you might have experienced this, right? Your skin gets nice and brown, and then after about a week or so, it might dry out and start to kind of peel off, and oh, there goes my beautiful suntan. You had a suntan in a weird place.
Right, it's somewhere that you would never think of.
Never.
So one day, my sister and I, we were just brushing our hair, getting ready for the day. And then we both started noticing these patches of skin falling from our head. And we both thought, what's going on? Do we have dandruff?
Oh no, yeah, well, that's not normal.
But then we looked at the skin. And it had brown spots.
Brown, wow.
Yeah. So we were really worried and we were wondering what was happening, and they came off like kind of big pieces.
Do you have like hair cancer? That's not a thing.
And we were thinking, well, how could it happen to both of us at the same time?
True, yes, 2 people, very good, yeah. What happened? What's going on?
Well, then we remembered that we were outdoors doing an outdoor activity on a very sunny day.
You didn't get a sunburn on your head?
We did.
Under your hair?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Our scalp got a sunburn.
Whoa.
So that was something new that we learned, that our scalp can actually get burned.
I mean, that's scary, but also kind of a relief because, you could be thinking much worse things could be going on. And none of your hair fell out.
No.
Just the skin.
But
when your hair is covering the skin and your hair I don't understand how the UV rays that we learned about yesterday, how do those get through?
Well, that shows how strong UV rays can be. So remember, when we go outside, we should also wear a hat.
Right, and shampoo with sunscreen. No, don't do that. Wear a hat. I think that's a much better idea. Okay, well with that, let's check out our article. I'm never going out in the sun again.
So, why do people produce different amounts of melanin? To answer this question, we have to look at the history of our species. Humans originally lived in East Africa, where the sun shines intensely. Much like people who still live in this part of the world, these ancient humans possessed dark skin to defend against the harsh African sun.
Today we are talking about part 2 of our article, Melanin, Nature's Sunscreen.
That's right. Yesterday, of course, we learned that depending on where you or maybe your great-great-grandparents come from in the world, that will have a lot to do with how much melanin you have. Blonde hair, blue-eyed, and very pale-skinned people might have less. They might be from the colder parts of the world in the north, and dark-skinned people with dark skin, dark eyes, dark hair, more melanin, maybe from the warmer parts. So here's how we begin today's article. So why do people produce different amounts of melanin? It's not like your body knows what country you were born in, you're just born. So how do people produce different amounts of melanin, and what is going on inside our bodies? To answer this question, we have to look at the history of our species. So we're kind of getting into the world of anthropology, studying humans as the animals that we are. And if you've studied any kind of anthropology, the next sentence won't surprise you. Humans originally lived in East Africa, where the sun shines intensely. We also had this adverb intensely. The sun shines intensely in parts of Africa, as it often shines intensely here in Taiwan. If something is happening intensely, it's happening with great power and or energy. All right, so an explosion is when a lot of energy is released very intensely. It happens with great power and with great speed and things like that. If you're talking about how intensely loud something is, maybe you're at an airport and an airplane is taking off, at a car race and the cars are going by, or at a rock concert and you're standing right in front of the speakers, it's very powerful, it's very intense. If it's happening that way, as an adverb, it is happening intensely or powerfully.
So an example sentence?
Oh yes, we have an example sentence. The colors in this painting are intensely bright. If you go to the art gallery, bring sunglasses because wow, that painting is intense.
Okay, let's continue with our article. Much like people who still live in this part of the world, these ancient humans possessed dark skin to defend against the harsh African sun. So like Mike, you mentioned, in East Africa, it's really hot there, and a huge part of it is the desert. So the sun is shining really intensely, it's really bright. So in order to protect against the harsh sun rays, the skin of the people that used to live in that area, it would be a lot darker. Okay, so what does it mean to possess something? It basically means to have something or to belong to something or to someone. So for example, a belonging or something can belong to Mike, and that's your possession. You possess that thing. You possess your phone.
It's mine.
It's yours.
Yeah.
And for example, we or I possess darker skin, whereas Mike, you have lighter skin. You possess lighter skin. So to have something or to belong to someone. So for example, an example sentence would be, my mom possesses a very kind heart. So my mom has a very kind heart.
Okay, and it can be something you're born with, like your natural talent or your kindness. It could also be something you buy and own, but it would be a little weird to say, hey, we can ask Bob, he possesses a car. He can drive us to the beach. Generally, we would say have in a more relaxed kind of situation. But, you know, sometimes you will hear the criminal possessed a gun and he used it to rob the bank or something. They have something. It belongs to them. And here we're talking about the word to defend. Yes, to defend, this verb means to protect yourself from some kind of bad thing, bad action, bad event, bad consequence. If you're defending yourself against a lion, that means a lion is trying to make you lunch and you're like, no, no, and you're kicking and punching, and I don't know what you would do to defend yourself against a lion. Not run away. That won't help. You can defend yourself against sickness by wearing a mask or taking medicine or washing your hands or having a very healthy diet. You can defend yourself against crime by, you know, not giving money to people you don't know or being careful where you go at night or something like that. So we take actions to stop or to not have something bad happen to us. Here's an example. The castle was built to defend against foreign armies. So if any enemies were going to invade the country, they'd have to get past that castle. And of course, the castle would stop them. It would defend the country and the people it's built in.
Right. And in our article, we're talking about melanin, or the color of our skin, being able to defend against harsh sun rays and things like that. So harsh basically means something that's really, really unpleasant, or it's really rough, and it just makes your senses feel very, it could be painful, it could be annoying, something that's just very tough on the situation or for people to handle.
Harmful or damaging.
Harmful, right. So an example sentence would be, many people died during the long, harsh winter. So the winter was really hard for people to go through or to live through.
Very, very cold. They couldn't get things to eat, and it seemed to last a long time. You might also say if you insult someone or use swear words, that's harsh language. You're not hurting the person's body, but you could be hurting their feelings or something. Let's take a break and then we'll be back.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们今天要来看看为什么人会制造不同数量的黑色素。那要回答这个问题，就必须回顾我们物种的历史。人类最初生活在东非，那里的日照强烈。那这些古代人类拥有深色皮肤来抵御严峻的非洲阳光。好，单字 intensely 就是表达强烈地、激烈地或者是极度，是个副词。那么 possess它是动词，表示拥有、具有。Defend 也是动词，它是表达保卫、防御，那可以当及物或不及物用。当我们说 defend against， 再加名词就可以表达抵抗什么什么。再来 harsh 这个形容词则是形容严峻的、强烈而有害的。Kiki 老师在解释时，他有提到 unpleasant 这个字，在 pleasant 前面加上否定字首 un， 那这个形容词形容令人不愉快的、不舒服的。好，那我们刚刚在讲到这个回顾物种的历史时 ，Mike 老师有提到人类学的英文 anthropology。anthropology，anthropology 就是人类学。那老师还有提到 Homo sapiens， 就是指智人，是人类的生物学学名。好，那接回到课文中。
However, human beings soon migrated across the planet, and people who moved to areas with less sunlight began to produce less melanin and develop paler skin. This allowed them to take in more UV from the limited sunlight available to them and therefore produce enough vitamin D. Higher amounts of melanin would have hindered this process. For tens of thousands of years, our bodies have used melanin to allow us to get enough vitamin D without getting harmed by the sun. However, it is important to remember that melanin doesn't solve everything. If you have paler skin, take care to use sunscreen in sunny weather. If you have darker skin, make sure you are getting all the vitamin D you need from sources other than the sun, such as by eating fish. That way, we can work together with our bodies to ensure we are as healthy as possible.
Welcome back. Let's get right back into our article. However, human beings soon migrated across the planet, and people who moved to areas with less sunlight began to produce less melanin and develop paler skin. This allowed them to take in more UV from the limited sunlight available to them, and therefore produce enough vitamin D. Higher amounts of melanin would have hindered this process. Okay, so we know that people started moving away from East Africa. They went up to the north. So we can think, for example, people in Scandinavia.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot paler skin.
Right.
But this is actually helpful for them because up in the north, you don't get as much sunlight throughout the year. So they really needed lighter skin to be able to absorb more sunlight to produce more vitamin D.
That's right, because your skin's doing those two important jobs at the same time, protecting your skin from damage, but also producing vitamin D. So you don't want too much protection, right? Because then vitamin D won't get made, but if you don't have enough, then your skin could get damaged. Very interesting. All of these different processes that are happening inside your body. What is a process? A process is basically just when things are happening, usually in a step-by-step manner. It begins in some way, it ends in some way. It will be producing something probably through that process. Whenever anyone explains to you how to do something, first you do this, then you do that. Then you do that. They're explaining a process. If you read a recipe and it tells you first, boil some water. That's the beginning of the process. And then the end would be, and finally put some lemon juice on top and the dish is ready. That's the end of the process. Some of these things can be done by people. Some of them happen in nature. Life is a process. You're born, you grow up, you die. That's the process. For example, growing old and getting gray hair is a natural process. You can pay your hairdresser to try to fight that process, but it will still be happening. Back to the article. For tens of thousands of years, our bodies have used melanin to allow us to get enough vitamin D without getting harmed by the sun. It's a balance. However, it is important to remember that melanin doesn't solve everything. That's right. You can still have problems with your skin. That's why you need to be careful, especially on hot, sunny days, for example.
And I guess nowadays the sun, the UV rays are a lot stronger than it used to be. So how do we protect our melanin or our skin? If you have paler skin, take care to use sunscreen in sunny weather.
Yes.
So when you're going outside and the sun is bright, you should wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
If you have darker skin, make sure you are getting all the vitamin D you need from sources other than the sun, such as by eating fish.
Oh.
So you can get some vitamin D by eating certain things.
Right.
That way we can work together with our bodies to ensure we are as healthy as possible. Okay, so not only does our body produce or go through processes to keep us healthy, we should also do things to, the most important thing is to work with our bodies.
Exactly, and make smart decisions like wear sunscreen, bring a hat, bring a long-sleeved shirt, you can cover up your arms, things like that. So how do you protect yourself when you are out in the sun?
Well, clearly I'm not doing enough. I'm not wearing enough sunscreen. So from now on, I should remember to always wear sunscreen and probably wear a hat.
Okay.
And wearing UV sunglasses?
Yes, that's true. You need to protect your eyes as well. Very good tip. I would say generally I always wear sunscreen when I go to the beach, when I'm doing outdoor activities, often in the city, walking around. Normally I don't do that, but anytime I'm going to be out there in nature, especially if I'm spending the day outside on a sunny day, always wear sunscreen. And remember, if you're going in the water and stuff, you have to keep putting it on, reapply that sunscreen every hour or two. It will get washed off by water or sweat or other things. So just once is not enough. Take care of the skin you have. It's the only skin you have, and it should hopefully last you your whole life because you can't get a replacement. Take care, guys. Take care of each other, your skin, and we'll see you back here soon.
刚刚说人类最初生活在东非，那边的日照强烈，那这些古代人拥有深色皮肤来抵御严峻的非洲阳光。那人类不久后就迁移到世界各地啦。那移居到日照较少地区的人开始制造比较少的黑色素，并且生成比较浅的肤色，这使他们能够从他们可得的有限阳光当中吸收更多的紫外线，制造足够的维他命 D。那么含量比较高的黑色素则可能会妨碍这样的过程。好，单字 process 就是过程或是步骤，也可以表达进程、变化过程。好，课文最后写到说，数万年来，我们身体一直利用黑色素，让我们可以获得足够的维他命 D， 而不受阳光伤害。不过啊，黑色素不能解决所有问题。如果你的肤色比较白，在这个艳阳高照的天气，你就要小心使用防晒霜。那如果你的肤色比较深，务必就要从阳光之外的来源来完整获取你所需要的维他命 D。好，那这边有3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 would have 加上过去分词 PP， 用来表示过去某事件可能发生的结果或影响，表示应该就会怎么样怎么样。那常常和这个与过去事实相反的假设句一起使用，那它也可以单独存在。举例来说， Frank would have won the race if he hadn't tripped。要是 Frank 没有绊倒，他本来会赢得比赛的。好，那第二个介绍的重点是 if 主词加动词，逗号，原形动词怎么样怎么样的用法。if 引导条件句时，用来表示可能发生的情况。那主要子句是祈使句的话，就常常会用来指建议啊，或者是给予指示。例如 If you like this post, share it with your friends。如果你喜欢这则贴文，请分享给你的朋友们。好，那第3个介绍的重点是 make sure 的不同意思跟用法。第一个呢，我们可以用 make sure 去表达务必怎么样，确保什么什么会发生。那后面是要接 that 子句 ，that 可以省略。例如 Make sure you finish the report by Friday. 务必在星期五前完成这份报告。那第二个，我们可以用 make sure 来表达确认、查明、弄清楚。后面可以接 that 子句，那一样 that 可以省略，或者是可以接 of 加名词。例如 ，They ran the test several times to make sure of the results. 他们进行了好几次测试来确认结果。好，那以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
So, why do people produce different amounts of melanin? To answer this question, we have to look at the history of our species. Humans originally lived in East Africa, where the sun shines intensely. Much like people who still live in this part of the world, these ancient humans possessed dark skin to defend against the harsh African sun. However, human beings soon migrated across the planet, and people who moved to areas with less sunlight began to produce less melanin and develop paler skin. This allowed them to take in more UV from the limited sunlight available to them and therefore produce enough vitamin D. Higher amounts of melanin would have hindered this process. For tens of thousands of years, our bodies have used melanin to allow us to get enough vitamin D without getting harmed by the sun. However, it is important to remember that melanin doesn't solve everything. If you have paler skin, take care to use sunscreen in sunny weather. If you have darker skin, make sure you are getting all the vitamin D you need from sources other than the sun, such as by eating fish. That way, we can work together with our bodies to ensure we are as healthy as possible.
Here's how to play. The host will be holding 3 cards. Each card will have 2 sentences containing a secret vocabulary word or phrase that has been replaced by the word bear. The host will read the sentences out loud for the contestants to guess. Whoever guesses first gets a point. The person with the most points wins. And you can play along too.
Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Kiki. Are you both ready to play?
Yes.
All right, let's get started. Our first one is a noun and it's one word. Ben lives a happy life with no bears. Second sentence. Bill's one bear is not saying goodbye to his dad in time.
Regret.
Regret.
What did you say?
Worry.
Oh, that makes sense too. Yeah.
So the first one goes to Steven. It's regret. Ben lives a happy life with no regrets. Bill's one regret is not saying goodbye to his dad in time. It's a sad one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a more positive one, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is a verb. It's one word. You shouldn't bear yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. Ash bears the traffic for his tardiness.
Blame. Give it to Kiki.
No, I don't want a pity score.
Well, then I said blame before you did, so I guess you've lost already. Okay, then blame. I got it.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll give that one to Steven. So Steven has 2 right now. Let me read the sentences with the word. You shouldn't blame yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. Ash blames the traffic for his tardiness.
Okay.
All right. Let's try to get one.
Yeah, I want this one for myself.
Yeah, okay. So the last one is a phrase and it's 2 words. Gary keeps bearing bear for his mistakes instead of apologizing. Second sentence. I don't want to bear for his horrible behavior.
Cover for? Can you read it again?
Yeah, I'll read the sentences one more time. Gary keeps bearing bear for his mistakes instead of apologizing. I don't want to bear for his horrible behavior.
Put up. No, I don't want to put up. I don't want to cover up. I don't want to.
I feel like it's at the tip of my tongue.
I know.
Okay, I'll put you both out of your misery.
Okay.
It was make excuses.
Oh.
So I'll read the sentences.
Okay.
Gary keeps making excuses for his mistakes instead of apologizing. And I don't want to make excuses for his horrible behavior. All right, so Steven is
the winner! Don't worry.
I won't make excuses for